Hi everyone! Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about the planetary transits for the month of June. Before I begin, I just want to say I will be talking about the sidereal or astronomical placements as used in Vedic astrology. If you're new to my channel, hi! I'm 𝗂𝗧𝗏. I'm a Vedic astrologer talking about planetary transits and new or full moon updates, so if you're interested in that, you can subscribe below. You can also find me over on Instagram at Starlight Inspiration, where I post even more planetary updates every week. So last month held a lot of emotional intensity. We went through the last of the eclipse season and we went through Mercury retrograde. And it just kind of felt like everything was held on pause, or like everything was standing still. Now we're on to a new month where there will be a lot more sense of moving forward and of things happening quite quickly, I believe. So to begin this update, first off, we have Venus in the sign of Cancer. So Venus here will be joining Mars, who is already in Cancer. And of course, Cancer is Mars' sign of debilitation. So, and I talked a lot about this in the previous update, but Venus here together with Mars will add to the feeling of being triggered, because Venus and Mars also has this, they have this natural friction, or can create this friction in between them due to their natural state of polarity, you might say. They are each other's opposites. It's the masculine and the feminine, and the sensual and the action-oriented, and you know, so they create this friction in between them. And of course, because we're in the sign of Cancer, a watery sign, a sign of our emotions, and of guarding our inner sensitivity. And it's also the sign that pertains to our close family. So here, this friction between Venus and Mars can affect our closest relationships, such as our family members, or perhaps our children, parents, those relationships that are closest to our hearts, basically. So this can also mean that we may be a little more easily triggered and more prone to irritability than usual. So this is something to perhaps take note of in the beginning of the month at least. Or actually, Mars will be here all the way until the last day of June, but so this will be a while. But even so, it could be kind of an emotionally turbulent or disruptive transit. We might also experience a loss of courage, or a loss of focus, you might say, during this time, as Mars is the planet of our discipline. And it could also mean that we get this sense of inner restlessness all the while this transit goes on. So this could be a great time to stick to your meditation routine, or perhaps create a meditation routine, or if you have any other sort of daily routine that you do to maintain your inner peace and calm, this is a great time to stick to it. Or also just give yourself space to, if you're creatively bent or something, you might give yourself some time to write or paint, or, well, just something that helps us to keep a level head and keep our sense of inner peace, because we might be a little more stingy during this transit. Then we will have a conjunction between Jupiter and Rahu on June 2nd is the exact time of the conjunction. Although this energy might have been slowly starting to become felt more and more and more as we have been getting closer and closer to this, perhaps even right at this time when Jupiter entered into Aries. But the exact time of the conjunction is June 2nd. But so this creates, because Jupiter is the planet of our beliefs, our opinions, it's the guru, it's the teacher, it's the teachings that we ourselves adhere to. And Rahu is it's the north node of the moon. It's the in the mythological story of Rahu and Ketu, Rahu is the beheaded head of the demon that no longer has a body attached to it. So Rahu sort of creates these obsessions, or even because it's the head, so it's the illusions or things that something we can't get enough of. So Rahu creates this insatiable desire to experience and take in things, and this is why, in a sense, Rahu is that significator of where we lack experience, because Rahu has this insatiable desire to experience things. But of course, this also, especially in Aries, the sign of the head and of our individual ideas and beliefs, this gets even heightened here. So this can be a time of being quite opinionated and being very, what would you say, tightly attached to our personal beliefs. And it can also bring out this shadow side of Jupiter, which is the very, very much opinionated and very even dogmatic sort of energy. So this can surface here. And on another note, it might also be a time where our ideas or our beliefs sort of change kind of quickly. So because Rahu creates these obsessions, and it's an obscure or influence of illusion. So it could mean that our opinions or our beliefs or even our teachings go through radical changes, where we suddenly want to change direction, or we change our belief system, or rather throw out our current belief system. So that's another aspect of it. But it could also mean that we just become very attached to our own beliefs, or even self-righteousness in our beliefs. During this time, I would say to try to keep ourselves humble and remember that we don't have the whole picture. There are people who have lots of experiences that we have no clues about, or that even, you know, sometimes when you have a strong opinion about something, and then you get into this deep discussion, and then suddenly you're like, oh my god, that person is so right, and then you change opinion entirely, that sort of thing. So keep an open mind and keep open to other people's points of view. And I do want to say also, because Rahu has this influence of obscurity, illusions, and things that we maybe cannot see clearly, to be conscious about making any too big changes or sudden changes, as Rahu has this influence of illusion. So perhaps there is also something that we can't see clearly with this. Then Mercury will move into Taurus on June 7th, which creates a great opportunity for getting our practical aspects of life in order, or even our finances in order. It's a great time to create structure, to organize, and to even make plans. Or this is the time really where all of those ideas that maybe have surfaced for us can be put into practical actions, because Mercury here, Taurus naturally brings out the earthy element of Mercury. So Mercury gets even more detail oriented and analytical and practical, and so it could be a great time for getting things in order and structuring our all of the practical, material aspects of our life. So perhaps if we've had something we've put aside for a while, now would be a great time to go to the bottom of it, or get to the bottom of it, and make everything orderly and structured. It's a great time for making plans and detailing out all of the next steps that we would need to make in order to see our ideas come to life. Then Sun moves into Gemini on June 15th, so this will be the official start of Gemini season, bringing out the time of year every year that Sun moves through Gemini. And so this really highlights our need for social interactions, of stimulating ideas, and it could also be a time where we feel like bubbling with new ideas coming and of new inspiration starting to take form. So this really highlights the airy quality of Gemini, where we're more curious, perhaps, inspired, and we're seeking mental activity and mental stimulation. So this could be a great time for social networking, or expanding our social circles, or even to come up with new ideas for our businesses, perhaps, or new ideas for, well, any new ideas, even for creative projects as such. Gemini is also the original sign of our hands and our dexterity, so it could be a great time for creative projects that involves our hands, such as artistic projects or writing. It could be a great time to really give more time to all of those things that make you feel inspired and that makes you, that really brings out your inner curiosity. Perhaps a time for a new interest of sorts. Then Saturn turns retrograde on June 17th in the sign of Aquarius. So this is that time where we're perhaps confronted with our boundaries, or rather where we've stepped over our boundaries or pushed our boundaries a little too far. And that could be even our personal boundaries, or even when it comes to our work. And especially in the sign of Aquarius, that it could be like if we've had a lot of, what would you say? In Swedish, there's this expression, balls in the air. I don't know, that sounds wrong in English, but where we're juggling too many things. So here it could really be like we sort of have to face that we can't do it all. Our energy isn't enough to do exactly everything. Perhaps we need to let some of those things go in order to preserve our energy and to be able to focus on those things that really matters, where we really feel motivated and determined to spend our energy, our time and our energy. So Saturn can really bring into light how and where we spend our energy, and if we've sort of exceeded our amount of time that we have to do things. It could also be kind of insightful for you personally if you look back to when Saturn first entered into Aquarius. So the first time was in May last year of 2022, and it lasted from May until June or the beginning of July, I believe. And then Saturn retrograded back into Capricorn. But on those months, what were the themes that were operating in your life? What were you dealing with at that time? Another time is if you look back to January of this year, because then Saturn as well first moved into Aquarius. So look back to January and see, what were you doing back then? What were you working on? And see where you are now and how far you've come now, and what are you currently working through? Which issues are you currently working out? So that could be sort of provide clues to what this will bring up for you individually. But in a general sense, this could be a time of, because Saturn is really this naturally constricting and condensing energy. So here it pertains to our desires, our motives, that even our sense of what drives us, what motivates our work. So it could be a time of refining and evaluating our desires and our motivations in a larger sense, because this is the within the sign of Aquarius, it's mostly about how we provide value from our line of work, or how we provide value in the form of the service that we provide. And that can be service in a lot of different types or expressions, but how we provide our life with meaning, and how we in turn offer meaning to the community around us. So Saturn here really makes us aware of which areas we need to put more energy into, and which areas perhaps we have to scale away or let go of, because we can't do it all. So that's the realization of Saturn. We can't do it all. Our energy, our time isn't enough to do exactly everything. So we have to condense or refine our motivations and our pursuits. Then we have Mercury moving into Gemini as well on June 24th. So this adds even more to that influence of seeking social connections and networking, and even of seeking those interests or those desires that keep us mentally stimulated, and that brings out our curiosity. So this could be a great time for learning a new skill, for developing new ideas or new projects, or like I said before, of writing, creating artistic things, or creative projects with our hands, and finding perhaps a new interest that inspires you. One of the, what would you say, shadow aspects of Mercury in Gemini can be much like a hummingbird moving from one flower to the next and then to the next. We can be kind of creating so many, or having so many ideas at the same time, that neither will be fully executed, if you know what I mean. So it can be very, we can feel so easily stimulated that we try to do too many things at once, but that usually means that neither will be completed. Mercury here switches interests just as fast as they arrive. So it could be good to remember to do one thing at a time, and to keep to our plan, our original plan, or even to just create a little bit of structure, so that we don't try to do too many things at once, because then it would be impossible to really get anything done. But all in all, I feel like this is a fun, creative transit. So I do like the prospect of Mercury in Gemini, and that inner igniting that inner curiosity. So to end this update, I will say it feels like a kind of widely spread month, if you know what I mean. So on the one hand, we have these emotionally challenging transits that can really test our sense of inner peace and test our patience. But then we also have these much focus on the airy qualities of Gemini, where we're seeking social connections and creative projects, ideas, and interests. So it could be, if we remember to ground ourselves and to stick to those routines that keep our peace of mind, we can have a really fun, stimulating month, I believe, where we're networking and expanding our social circles, or creating new projects, or yeah, I do believe there's a lot of potential this month as well. But also remember to stay humble and to keep an open mind to the opinions of others, or having soulful discussions rather than getting caught up in being right and being, what would you say? Because there's we can sort of seek a kick with the, like a mental kick with being right and getting caught up in heated arguments and all of that. So, but if we remember to be humble to the viewpoint of the other party, then we can have a deep, meaningful, soulful connection and conversation rather than just argumentative verbal battles, if you know what I mean. So that was it for this update. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please leave a like or a comment or subscribe to the channel below. And if you want to read more about these transits, you are welcome to visit my blog at starlightinspiration.com/blog, where you can read more about it. Thank you guys for watching. Take care. Bye.